Introducing the biggest medieval fantasy mod pack for MCPE. This video is split into 7 chapters starting with textures. To create the perfect RPG vibe, we add dynamic third-person perspectives. You can choose or customize a view that matches your gameplay. The sky is dull, so we add shaders. This also comes with a more cloud option. Here's the difference. And here's the shader at nighttime. Now let's fix the textures. There we go. Everything now looks beautifully medieval. This pack changes almost every texture to fit in with the Middle Age era. This looks absolutely amazing. Better foliage. This pack adds more depth and immersion to Minecraft by improving leaves, bushes, grass, and more. Rivers Plus does a similar job. Actions and Stuff brings Minecraft to life by adding 3D details and new animations. There's improvements to all aspects of the game. It makes frequent activities more enjoyable and satisfying. With this pack, everything becomes so much more fluid and smoother. This pack was originally released for free but then moved out to the marketplace shortly after release, so I'm unable to provide a download link, but obviously you can get it off the marketplace and support the creator. It is so worth it. This is my favorite pack and I hope you guys enjoy it just as much as I did. And last but not least, we have Circular Hotbar, which is an essential for medieval mod packs. On mobile, you can move the hotbar wherever you want to fit your needs. Here's what the textures look like on a phone. Before we move on, there is a couple bonus packs attached in the description for you to add if you wish. This next chapter is essential, game mechanics. When you first load up in your world, there's an option to choose your origin. Each origin is unique and have their own advantages, and there are so many to choose from. One of my personal favorites is the Elven origin. It grants both speed and infinite arrows. It also deals more damage to undead mobs and has better regeneration. After selecting an origin, you can then choose a class. Here, the Lumberjack class I'm using gives me Tree Capitator abilities along with the replanting bonus. This add-on is highly customizable and perfect to play with your friends. Now, to improve movement, we add the Roll and Stamina add-on. This is perfect for dodging in combat and maneuvering through rough terrain. We now also have the ability to jump over 2 blocks, which can be quite useful, but it doesn't end there, because this add-on adds grappling hooks, which can be enchanted to go longer lengths and shoot more than one hook. There's also a working glider, but the textures are glitched. And of course, every mod pack needs the Dynamic Light add-on, which all of you probably already know about. To add sorcery to our game, we add a magic way with over 100 unique elemental spells consisting of ice spells, electric spells like Thor's hammer, dark spells, transportation spells like this one, wind spells, and much more. Casting weapons are split into 3 groups: wands, spell swords, and staff, each with their own benefits like casting speed and range. After holding the book with your spells, the wand allows you to switch through 9 different spells using their special interface, whilst the staff can switch through as much spells as you want. On the other hand, spell swords deal damage and don't require a book, as they have one binded onto them for quick use. Spells can be made in the Magic Learning Station, where you can study different types of elemental powers. There are more advanced spells for more experienced magicians. Now on to Villager Soldiers Vanilla. Soldiers are split into different classes and can be promoted. When a soldier fights a Ravager, they are upgraded to a Captain. You can craft defenses like bamboo turrets and melon golems to help defend the village. Striders are like the Ravagers for villages and hold up to 2 long-range soldiers. There are also copper golems, copper booms, and copper watchers. Along with village improvements, pillagers have also been upgraded, leading to some intense battles. Elder Villagers. When maxed out, you can trade them for a special item, like these emerald boots that are better than netherite armor. There's also this new weapon and a hand drill that makes mining so much easier, as well as a spaghetti that fills you up. Now, to make the mod pack more fun in multiplayer, I've added a trade system. It's straightforward and reliable, allowing you to trade any item within your hand, which helps you strengthen relationships with allies. Alicia's advancements helps create a stronger RPG feel to this mod pack by adding tasks you can complete for rewards and advancements. Oh, what's that pop-up? The second chapter is now complete. Let's move on to the third, Combat. Starting off with Epic Knights. This is a very popular add-on that adds a whole variety of new armors and weapons. There's a whole lot of capes and other things too. Next we add circle shields because the square ones got boring. Alicia's Dungeons is a large add-on inspired by the Minecraft dungeon game, adding a whole lot of fancy armors and weapons. Some armors have special abilities like this one that puts the attacker on fire. With over 50 melee weapons, each weapon has a normal type that can be crafted, and unique variants that are only obtainable from boss fights, which we will get onto very soon in the video. This add-on adds over 20 ranged weapons consisting of new bows and new crossbows with special abilities. Not to mention all the cool artifacts it also has. These are quite difficult to obtain as they are heavily guarded by bosses. Keep in mind that other add-ons also bring in combat features. Now that we've finished combat, let's move on to mobs and bosses, continuing where we left off with Alicia's Dungeons. Now this add-on adds new mobs to discover, and 8 new mini-bosses to battle. There's one for the Nether and one for the End, but they are no match for the real bosses, who are extremely powerful. Not even Netherite is enough to take them on, with each having its own dungeon to reside in, making more adventure for your medieval fantasy world. These bosses are equipped with a wide range of strong attacks and moves, like how this boss summons red cubes to act as a distraction so it can use its mega move, or how the jungle abomination summons spikes from the floor to catch you off guard, making some truly intense boss battles. Currently, the strongest boss is the Mushroom Monstrosity. This guy is huge, and even with the strongest gear and spells, it is still difficult to beat him. And if you're lucky enough to defeat a boss, you get a key to open the legendary chest, which gives rare artifacts, special armors, weapons, and more. Next, we have the Water Dragon boss. This ancient creature is no joke and is not to be messed with. He launches some powerful attacks, and it can even come up to shore if you anger him, and summons guardians for support. And if you manage to somehow beat the dragon, you can use his materials to make armor, which is very protective and stylish. You can also craft these super cool looking 3D sword and bow, and aside from their looks, they are quick and functional, dealing a lot of damage to enemies. Tree folk guardians. They're unique to the specific biome they live in and are peaceful creatures and live only to defend the forests. But if you harm trees, the peace breaks and you will be attacked. Luckily, they aren't too difficult to defeat as long as you dodge their attacks, making them a perfect starter boss. Once slain, they drop end chips, which you can then use to craft armor, and obviously it's different depending on the type of wood. Archaic Fantasy adds a ton of new mobs like this netherite golem that will crush you, or these elementals, or how about humans that will attack once agitated. You can also summon a knight and give it emeralds to ally with it. Once allied, you can gear him up with armors and weapons from any other add-ons, making him powerful to protect you and aid your adventures. Deep in the mangrove swamps lurks a Holanosaurus, an ancient species that survived a catastrophic extinction event. They are known to be very aggressive and distinct cousins of the sniffer. If you're sneaky enough and find their nest, you can steal their egg and hatch a baby to tame it. Just be careful not to get caught, otherwise you will have an angry Holanosaurus on your tail. And if you're brave enough to use a desert flute to summon the desert husk, you will realize that none of your long-ranged attacks work as it deflects them. And if you get too close, it will chomp you, and if you defeat him, you get this strong weapon. Next up, we have Skyville Wyverns. To summon it, you would first have to locate its nest. After finding the nest, by mining the block in the center, you can awaken the wyvern, and this is when the boss fight begins. It breathes fire, swings its tail to slap you, and bites. Once dead, it drops an egg which will hatch into a baby. Then you can tame it by making Cyrax food. You can feed it to make it grow up, and once it's an adult, you can ride it. Luckily for you, there is no saddle necessary, so you can soar into the air with your new pet dragon. And if you're lucky enough, it could drop a dragon soul, which you could use to become one with the dragon, giving you special effects and the ability to fly. What I love about this is that you can also breathe fire, which is sick. Nico's Moat Dungeon. Now this is where mobs and bosses gets even more exciting, because inside this dungeon lies a boss, and you would have to loot and fight mobs to find it. Eventually you come across two double doors which lead to the rat cursor. It drops a staff that repels cursed mobs and deals damage. This other dungeon belongs to a zombie boss which is full of mobs. There's a trap which leads you straight to the zombie boss's lair, and you would have to fight him. There's also this underground catacomb where you will meet these rocks, which are actually deep slate golems, and the elder golem boss itself. And last but not least, the Piglin Chief's dungeon found in the Nether. And after a really dramatic fight, if you manage to beat him, you get his sledgehammer and his staff. Conflicting honor adds orcs to the game. There's now orc raids in villages and orc camps to find and fight them. And finally, we have Nico's mobs, adding all sorts of medieval and fantasy-like creatures to the game, bringing your world to life, from creepy skulkwalkers to cute amphibians. Now let's explore the exciting features of this mod pack, starting with enhanced boat textures, creating more detailed 3D boats that come in different variants. Let's also add better fishing to take our sea experience to another level. Instead of random things, you now get a box with loot. These boxes are sorted into fishing, armors, weapons, others, and archery. Each box has a rarity. The lower you go, the more basic the loot becomes. And we also have simple waystones. Just place it, choose a name, and decide whether to make it public or not. Then choose a location with your other waystone, and it's as easy as that. There's different designs, and all it requires is XP to teleport. Multi-backpack. Just hold your backpack to store what you want, then come off of it and place it inside your inventory for it to show. And what's even better is that there's 40 different backpack variants to choose from. To improve transportation, we add horse carriages. It's a traditional way to transport loot, as a horse carriage provides additional inventory space. This one can transport up to 6 players. This add-on truly improves the medieval aspect of the mod pack. Healing campfire. Now because this mod pack is so dangerous, this add-on is essential. Simply stand next to the campfire to regenerate your health. Keys and crates adds naturally spawning crates. Locked crates are rare and can be opened by crafting a key. These crates provide useful loot that will aid your journey. On the other hand, normal crates can be opened by simply tapping them with a flint axe. And if you happen to come across a crate trader's house, you will find a lot of free crates lying in his rooms, but not only that, you will find the crate trader to exchange emeralds with. You can also find crates in the Nether and the Piglin Crate Trader's house. Here you can trade them for the exclusive Piglin Crate and key, which holds some powerful loot. More items and more blocks bring so many more things like foods, armors, weaponry, and naturally spawning decorations. A lot of these things are functional, like this cookie jar, which you have to use the jar opener to get them. As you can see, there's a whole lot more added. These add-ons are just 2 out of the 14 that Forsaken Odyssey adds. Some of them you've seen in the previous chapter, and some of them I haven't mentioned, but all information is in the description. Now let's shift to the 6th chapter, World Generation, one of the best parts of this mod pack. Abandoned rune structures, runes and dungeons, ZJ Structures Plus, all work together to generate abandoned dungeons, ruined buildings, ancient temples, huge ships, beautifully floating islands, long towers, and even castles. The list goes on, and obviously there's plenty of structures in the Nether as well. Now I've made sure that there's no end to your exploration within this mod pack. The wild environment and more tree variants will increase wilderness of nature and make your world less repetitive and more interesting. It adds soil and rock patches, more vegetation, and a lot of other things. Mythical biomes adds 3 new huge biomes to explore with new mobs and new structures. We have the mossy forest, the corrupted forest, and overgrown jungle. Discover more features underground with Nico's cave expansion, adding a new variety of caves along with mobs, armors, and weapons made from its unique ores, foods, and more. But along with this, we also use Beyond the Underground to further enhance our underground experience. This adds another 5 underground biomes to improve the fantasy feel. There's a whole lot more of each biome, like this underground desert cave which has quicksand, and if you're not focusing you could be pulled into the sand and suffocate. There is so much detail, like if you kill a scorpion you could either cook it in a furnace to get cooked scorpion, or use a raw scorpion to make fatal poison potions. And if you manage to kill the tricky sand skellies, they could drop their skull which could be used to craft the Wand of Sands, which has some cool special effects. Now on to Nico's More Mineshaft. There's a long staircase going down where you will have to fight these new miner skeleton mobs to get in. Each mineshaft varies in size and loot. This is a deep slate mineshaft and in my opinion is one of the most dangerous ones, with high damage allays and lots of lava to fall into. Next we have Dungeon Expanse, adding a huge tower in every biome with an entrance to the dungeon. Every dungeon has a randomly generated layout, so you will never see the same dungeon twice. They are packed with surprises, so be prepared for battle. And there is a lot of complex redstone involved in these dungeons. Look out for suspicious looking rooms, as some of them may be traps. Keep in mind, these dungeons can be quite risky, but they come with a high reward. The Wilder World improves existing biomes even more than we already have, adding a ton of new features like new trees and plant life so you never get bored. One of my favorite parts is a new ancient city, but be aware of these glowy blocks as they are nests to a special mob. Do not get too close or hit them like I did, otherwise this happens.
What the heck? Damn!
As you can see, there's new blocks and things around. While escaping from the warden, watch out for the skull jaws. And if you obtain an ostrich feather, you can make a windwalker, which is almost as good as elytra. On to our final chapter, additional enhancements. To add more realism to the mod pack, we use cloud medieval music. There's a whole bunch of songs. Dynamic surroundings, listen closely. This adds sounds depending on where you are. Presence footsteps changes the walking sounds to sound more immersive. We also add better weather to remove clutter, and now let's move on to addon sorting. When applying the add-ons, assort them in this order to make sure they work, and ensure all experimental gameplay options are enabled. Thanks for watching. If you want to download all add-ons at once, join my Discord server linked in the description along with the download links. Comment what you liked about the video and see you next time.